Here's a common question that people keep asking. How do I know that I am choosing the right path? And honestly, I already know what that question really means deep down. And what it basically means is, how do I somehow avoid having any regrets in life? How do I avoid embarrassing myself, the embarrassment? How do I make sure that I do not look stupid if this thing fails? Let's be honest, okay? This isn't about clarity anymore. It's about fear. If we were simply confused, it might have been even better, okay? But no, we are scared of committing, okay? And that fear has been disguised as, the simple saying of, I'm just thinking. But no, you are delaying, okay? You are procrastinating. You are denying your future. And honestly, I'm very irritated because I see very intelligent people wasting their years waiting for a feeling that's just never going to come. And when I think back to the person that I used to be, which was exactly that, I feel even more irritating. Because here's the uncomfortable truth, okay? Clarity does not come before action. Unfortunately, it comes after. Anyone who tells you otherwise is lying to you or trying to sell you something sketchy. Okay, you do not feel ready, okay? You become ready. You do not find your purpose somewhere out there. No, you build evidence for it. You do not suddenly wake up, and drink your cup of coffee and stare into the sunrise and be like, oh, yeah, this is exactly what I'm supposed to do. No, okay, you just get tired of standing still because nothing is coming. Let me say this clearly, okay? You are not lost. Okay, you are not lost or confused. That would have been a little better. Okay, you are undecided. There is a big difference, okay? Lost people who are lost and confused, still move, okay? Even if it's in the wrong direction, the left or right, wherever, they move. But undecided people freeze, okay? And freezing, I feel, is something, it's an act that feels very responsible in the moment. It feels very mature. It feels like you are being careful so you don't do anything regretful, so you don't make any mistakes. But truthfully, what it actually is avoidance dressed up as intelligence. Listen, okay, I get it, okay? You are waiting for the perfect path, okay? You are waiting to find the perfect moment. I get it. The one with no risk required, the one with absolutely no embarrassment, no wasted effort. But tragically, that path does not exist, okay? And even worse, okay, it gets worse. The people who are waiting for it are the very people who end up resentful at the end of their lives. And it's not because they fail or they embarrass themselves or not, no. But simply because of the fact that they never started, that they never pursued their dream. Someone said, indecision itself, indecision is itself a decision. Okay? You chose not to choose. Okay? You chose. You chose something already, okay? You chose the comfort, you chose the familiarity, you chose the unexposed. So let me upset you a little bit. I hope you get upset hearing this because it wouldn't make sense if you don't. Because then you wouldn't be awake. So, most of the successful people that you know that have had their names written in history, and for those who are still alive today, did not know what they were doing. Okay? Truthfully, they were wrong first. They were very messy. They were very embarrassing at first. And most of them didn't even believe in themselves. But the difference between you and them is that despite all of that, they move anyway. And you can choose to be like them, okay? Because confidence is something that comes later. Identity is something that comes later. Okay, certainty, something that comes later. Wealth, fame, whatever you want in life is something that comes later. Okay? Action is what creates direction, okay? It's not the other way around. And this whole obsession with the perfect path is something that is honestly it's ruining you. It's ruining a lot of people because you are asking the wrong question. You're asking, is this the right choice? Instead of asking, can I commit to this long enough to actually make it work? Because anything, and I tell you, anything can become right with enough depth, enough discipline, and enough repetition. And everything is going to feel wrong when you keep one foot out the door. That's how it works. Here's something that nobody tells you, okay? Your first direction is not your destiny. Okay, period. That's the honest truth, okay? It is your training ground, okay? You're not marrying the path, okay? You're dating it, okay? It's a relationship. You're trying to get to know each other, and you have to have some commitment in that, okay? Because you don't get to date 10 different paths all at once, okay? And then you complain that you feel empty, okay? Depth is something that requires a loyalty, you cheater, even if it's temporarily. We are not afraid of choosing wrong. We are afraid of simply the fact of being seen choosing. Because once you're seen choosing, once you choose, people are watching, okay? And they can judge, they can doubt you, and they can even say, told you so. So you hide in neutrality. But honestly, neutrality is what kills momentum. Marcus Aurelius wrote, okay? Waste no more time arguing what a good man should be and be one. The same stuff applies here, okay? Stop theorizing your life and live it. So let me be blunt, okay? If you wait until you are certain, you will certainly be 35 and then 45 and then extremely old and extremely bitter. Certainty is a luxury earned after some movement. You don't need confidence. You simply need tolerance for some discomfort. You do not need clarity or anything like that. You need to have some courage. And I'm gonna be honest, courage does not feel good in the beginning stages. It feels very reckless, it feels premature, and it feels like you are jumping without a safety net, a parachute, or a lifeline. And that is very normal. Okay, it's very normal. You do not want to end your life. And maybe this is the part that nobody really wants to hear, but God does not guide people who do not move. Even the verse, pretty sure there's a verse that says something like, faith without work is dead. Not confused, simply dead. Okay? So you want direction, take a step. If you want a sign, act first, be the sign. You want some alignment, create some friction in your life. Here's the rules that I live by, okay? That I've learned to live by. Choose the path that forces you to grow. Choose the one that exposes your weaknesses. And choose the one that scares your old identity. Not the one that feels safe, because safety may feel good, but regret lasts a lifetime. Now, you might say maybe I'm being harsh on myself, but honestly, it was a choice made. So if you're stuck in life as of this moment, just pick something, okay? Look around you, if you do cooking, start cooking. If you do art, start whatever it is, just choose something and commit to it for a year. It doesn't need to be right, but you do need to stop romanticizing all of the alternatives, okay? Stop checking all the exits. You do not need the perfect choice, okay? You just need to make a choice. You need a decision, okay? One. And the version of you that comes after that action, I guarantee will thank you for not waiting. Even if you were wrong, especially if you were wrong. Because, at least You lived. At least you had the courage to take a step forward.